Hello, I'm Peter, and welcome back to Crushing Comics, the new web show where I tried to convince myself that it was a really great idea to ship about 25,000 comic books worth of single issues and collections 8,600 miles around the globe from Philadelphia to Wellington, New Zealand. Yikes. So before I get into any storytelling, let me pick the book that we're going to open. So these are all of my oversized hardcovers that I had to pack in a hurry, and so I kind of just made little book bales out of them. Now we're going to open them up. So this is my choice for today. So the story of moving to Wellington, it's really quite sudden. I've lived in Philadelphia all my life, accumulating these books and many other things in this room you can't see, guitars, board games, and also a very enjoyable life with some great friends. And it just so happened that my wife participated in this program where she and 93 other people were flown to Wellington to interview for tech jobs. And she got one of the jobs. So then it was like, oh wow, I guess this whole Philadelphia life has to become mobile and travel around the globe. Some people might hesitate to do that sort of thing. I would be one of those people. But, you know, you don't get that kind of chance in life too frequently. And I really saw it as my shot to just experience the kind of thing that you hear other people talking about, moving to different countries and living this life. And so you think of it as something that only privileged people do, or kids in kind of unusual situations where their parents get a weird job and move around the world, which is what my child is experiencing now. And I was like, you know what? We're going to do it. I'm going to do it and experience some of that life. And who knows where it will lead from here. But I do know that I have several tons of comic books here with me to experience it. So let's see what I pulled off the wall today. Gosh, that got deep and sad really quickly, didn't it? Okay, now we're going to talk about comic books. Oh, this is a good one. This is like really one of the prohibitive Marvel omnibuses. So today we have pulled the Infinity Gauntlet, still in the wrapper. And the question I think of this video is going to be, am I taking it out of the wrapper? So, yeah, okay. Okay, so Thanos, I think we've agreed it's Thanos, right? So he was originally just a toss-away villain in an Iron Man story, if I'm remembering correctly. But he got adopted by Jim Starlin in the 70s, who was writing a lot of Marvel's more fringe comics that had a cosmic focus, such as Warlock and a little bit of Captain Marvel, the original Captain Marvel, who was a Kree captain, not Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel, or Monica Rambeau as Captain Marvel. And Starlin kind of put his whole cosmic odyssey to bed with the Death of Captain Marvel graphic novel, which is a classic. It's still great. You should definitely read it. And Thanos had actually already shuffled off stage before that, but like Starlin got a hook and pulled him back on stage so he could have one last hurrah and put these characters that he really loved to write to bed. And that was in the early 1980s. And there was a gentleman's agreement that nobody else was going to use them. There were a lot of these agreements at Marvel at the time. I've been working on my Silver Surfer guide to give it some updates. And Stan Lee had a very similar agreement about Silver Surfer, that nobody was going to write Silver Surfer. Actually, it's going to tie into the story as if I planned it. Nobody was going to write Silver Surfer solo other than Lee. And nobody was going to have him leave Earth because Galactus had bound him to Earth. So that agreement continued for some time, and now it's the late 80s. Steve Englehart has now begun writing the Silver Surfer ongoing that started in 87 or 88, and he takes Silver Surfer away from Earth. Finally, Stan Lee's gentleman's agreement is broken. And Englehart writes a brilliant Silver Surfer run. And so then, after a couple of issues of like random fill-ins, Starlin takes over Silver Surfer. And one of the restrictions, really, that had been on Englehart is he couldn't go like full-on cosmic because there was the gentleman's agreement preventing him from using a lot of the Starlin concepts, including our man here with the Infinity Gauntlet. Although Englehart did introduce Silver Surfer contending with the original entities of the galaxy. I'm blanking on their name right now, but they're like the big, powerful galactic forces one step below Galactus. And they have what they're referring to at the time as soul gems, which we all know now are those. So, Starlin takes over, and immediately Thanos comes back, and this epic story that Englehart was doing turns into this totally other kind of epic with Silver Surfer and Thanos, and they were not characters who had really bumped up against each other too much up to that point. Part of the fun of this is there's always the chance I could be totally bullshitting you. Because I don't have, any notes or reference material here, and I'm trying to, rely on my supposedly encyclopedic knowledge of the entire Marvel Universe, so I could be telling you things that are wrong. I don't think that I am, and I guess if I do, I would, overdub me saying the truth or, put a note on the video. Who knows? We'll deal with that when it happens. But, long story short, within, 10 or 15 issues, Starlin has steered the Silver Surfer run into this huge event, and Marvel was let's say 8 years into doing yearly events at this point, called the Infinity Gauntlet, where Thanos had the Infinity Gems, and he had really taken prohibitive control over potentially the universe and life and death itself. This omnibus is really, in a way, how I prefer Marvel to do omnibuses, because it has the whole lead-up run in Silver... Oh, that's going to be really hard for you to see, I guess, because of the glare. It has the whole lead-up run from Silver Surfer, and then it has the whole Infinity Gauntlet series, and it has all the tie-ins. They're not integrated in order with the series itself, but they're in order after the series, so there is some flipping back and forth if you want to read, Infinity Gauntlet 1, and then the issue that comes after that, and then so on and so forth. But it's all in there, and it's really complete. And everybody wants Marvel to do one that has Infinity War, which was the next miniseries event, and everybody wants Marvel to do another one that has Infinity Crusade. I'm sure they're coming, especially with the movie being called Infinity War, but Marvel first is issuing what we all said we wanted in Omnibus in a big box set of normal-sized hardcovers. That's the Infinity box set or something, and that's coming out next year. And it's going to have a ton of uncollected stuff, because it's going to do this treatment with all of the tie-ins for the next two events in the sequence, and that's never been done. And having gone over it in my events guide, there's tons of issues in there that have never been collected from a lot of sideline titles that benefited from tying into a big event like this. You'll notice, if you were an X-Men reader like me, this stuff you were blind to. I had no idea what was happening, because the X-Men would appear into it because they brought with them a sales boost, but they never had a crossover into it from their own books because they didn't need the boost. X-Men books sold fine to begin with, and you'll find most of the major flagship titles didn't really tie into the Starlin Infinity stuff. So Avengers, I think West Coast did, but I don't know if the proper Avengers title didn't. Spider-Man, Web of ties into one of them, and I think Spider-Man Adjectiveless does, but I don't know that Amazing ever did. But the smaller books, Silver Surfer, Doctor Strange, Quasar, they all tied in because they wanted the boost. Wonder Man always ties in, War Machine, and some big books like Fantastic Four. Now I'm just rambling and I could be getting something wrong. So the point being is, I know for a fact there's uncollected books coming up. So here is a brand new omnibus shelf. I'm not taking the wrapper off of this, because I know right now it has a pretty high resale value, and who knows how many copies are here in New Zealand. And I would be totally okay with reading this in standard size, especially because they're issuing, where is it? Silver Surfer in standard size in Epic Collection, and I already have a standard size collection of Infinity Gauntlet. So I know this makes me a bad collector, and I'm not enjoying the stuff, but I'm not going to read it right now. I think the plastic's staying on. So thanks for sticking around for another episode of Crushing Comics. I hope you enjoyed my hopefully accurate information. Oh, and the official shelving. God, I did the whole frozen face and a video fitting. Okay, now let's officially shelve it. Ready? Okay. Yes.